What if I told you that the spear might secretly be the most dangerous weapon in Minecraft? All it takes is 2 sticks and a single material. That's it. Wood, stone, iron, diamond, or netherite. You can craft it like any other tools, and you can upgrade a diamond spear into a netherite the same way you upgrade other netherite gear. With just 1 wood log, you can already make 2 wooden spears, which makes it a very accessible weapon, unlike weapons like the trident. You can also find spears in certain structures' loot chests, and mobs that spawn holding spears have a small chance to drop them when killed. On paper, the spear looks underwhelming. The base damage is low. In Java Edition, the jab does half a heart. In Bedrock, it does 1 heart. Each material tier increases the damage by half a heart. Compared to swords, that's kinda weak. Swords gain 1.5 hearts per tier. Spears also cannot land critical hits, meaning that you don't get that 50% bonus damage from jumping. And unlike most weapons in Bedrock, the spear has a forced cooldown. You literally cannot attack again until the cooldown finishes. So why is this weapon even relevant then? Because the spear breaks the normal rules of combat. First, its reach is 4.5 blocks. Every other melee weapon in the game reaches 3 blocks. That extra 1.5 blocks changes everything. You can hit creepers before they can ignite. You can keep wither skeletons outside their hit range. You can even slowly eliminate an iron golem without it ever touching you. But that extra reach comes with a limitation. The spear has a minimum range of 2 blocks. If something closer than 2 blocks to you, you physically cannot hit it with the spear. That creates like a dead zone. And because higher tier spears have longer cooldowns, stronger spears actually give enemies more time to push that 2 block gap. A wooden spear has roughly a half a second cooldown, making it surprisingly good at maintaining a distance. A netherite spear deals more damage, but its cooldown is almost twice as long. Now, here's something most players don't realize. The spear pierces targets. If multiple entities are lined up within a 4.5 block range, every single one of them takes damage. If 20 mobs are stacked in front of you, all 20 take the hit. That means that the spear's real power increases dramatically in crowded fights or mob farms. But we're just getting started. The spear has 2 types of attacks, a jab attack and a charge attack. The jab is your normal left click. It's low damage, no crits, forced cooldown, but it has reach and piercing. The charge attack is where the spear becomes insane. When you hold right click, the spear points forward and stays active. Any entity you collide with while charging takes damage. There are 3 visual stages while charging. In the first stage, the spear stays rigid and straight. In the second stage, it wiggles slightly. In the third stage, it lowers slightly. The stage does not increase damage. Instead, each stage removes utility. The first stage can dismount players from whatever they're riding and deal knockback and damage. The second stage just deals knockback and damage. The third stage only deals damage. The actual damage of a charge attack depends entirely on velocity. The faster you move relative to your target, the more damage you deal. The minimum speed required is 4.2 blocks per second, so walking won't activate meaningful damage. Sprinting is enough to meet the minimum. And here's a crucial mechanic. The spear calculates both your velocity and your opponent's velocity. That means if you just stand still and someone runs into you at high speed, they can take massive damage from your charge. Damage is calculated by multiplying your blocks per second speed by a tier-based multiplier. Simply sprinting with a wooden spear does around 2 hearts. Sprinting with a netherite does around 3.5 hearts. But movement is everything. If you ride a horse, your speed increases dramatically. On an average horse, you will deal around 3.5 hearts to 5.5 hearts depending on your spear's tier. On the fastest horses, that jumps to 5 to 8 hearts. That's enough to 2-shot most mobs even with a wooden spear. Now let's talk enchantments. Spears can receive the same enchantments as swords, including sharpness. But sharpness only affects jab attacks. It does nothing for charge damage. Charge damage only cares about your speed and your spear's tier. The unique spear enchantment is lunge. Lunge has 3 levels. You can get it from an enchantment table or from villagers. When you perform a jab with lunge, you gain a forward dash. At level 3, that dash is the strongest. Even though jab and charge are technically separate attacks, you can press both of them at the same time. If you jab, and immediately hold the charge, the momentum from the lunge transfers on the charge attack. This allows you to build speed instantly without relying on horses or elytras. From around 15 blocks away, even a wooden spear can deal around 4.5 hearts using the lunge momentum. A diamond spear can one-shot most common mobs and even unarmored players from a standstill. A netherite spear can one-shot illagers. With perfect timing, sprinting, and jumping, players can hit up to 14 hearts of damage by doing this. And remember, the spear pierces. If multiple mobs are stacked together, they'll all take that full damage. However, lunge consumes saturation and hunger based on its level. If you spam it, it will drain your food quickly, so you need a strong food to sustain this playstyle. Now we move into advanced mechanics. Attribute swapping is one of the strongest spear's techniques. Because a spear has long reach but slow cooldown, you can swap between items to combine their attributes. By attacking and swapping between a sword and a spear at precise timing, you can benefit from a sword's damage and cooldown while still using the spear's 4.5 block reach. This also works in reverse when swapping away from the spear. When combined with the mace, this becomes extremely powerful. You can effectively smash someone away from 4.5 blocks away. There are also advanced combos like Z tapping, where you land a spear charge and then immediately follow up with a mace hit for a devastating burst damage. This combo works on ground and while flying with an elytra. There is also lunge swapping. Normally, lunge is limited by a spear's cooldown, but by swapping from your fist or another no cooldown item into the lunge spear, you can bypass the cooldown and dash repeatedly at extremely high speeds. This allows insanely fast gap closing and even unexpected kills. If you attempt this while wearing an elytra, you must first remove the elytra before clicking, or else it won't function properly. Pearls also interact with spear's damage. Ender pearls transfer your velocity when you teleport. That means when you throw a pearl, teleport instantly and carry that velocity into a charge attack without needing a massive physical distance. Pearl catching techniques, including throwing a pearl and applying additional movement like wind charges, can massively increase your effective speed. Because charge damage scales with velocity, pearls can create huge burst damage in tight spaces. Now let's talk about elytras. Flying with an elytra is one of the most effective spear strategies. Using fireworks for propulsion while holding a charge attack can deal up to 21 hearts of damage at full speed. That's enough to kill a prop 4 netherite player in 3 hits. When using this method, you need fast hotbar access between fireworks and your spear. After boosting with a firework, you temporarily lose tight turning control. You can see particles during this phase. Once they disappear, your mobility returns. It's a good thing to keep in mind when PvPing. If your opponent is holding a shield, you must disable it with an axe first. Shields stay disabled for 5 seconds after being hit by an axe. Keep that axe accessible. There is also extreme dive damage. Falling from exactly 141 blocks can instantly kill a full enchanted netherite player. You won't survive unless you break your fall. But with an elytra, you can dive to build massive momentum and pull up just before your impact. If you mistime it, you die. Practice in creative mode until you can control your angles precisely. And then there's the most extreme speed method in the game, using a trident with Riptide 3 in the rain while flying with an elytra. Riptide can only activate while touching water or during the rain. With Riptide 3, you can reach speeds up to 125 blocks per second. With a netherite spear, that translates to about 75.5 hearts of damage. That is enough to kill the Wither in 2 hits and even the Ender Dragon in 2 hits under the right conditions. Although rain does not occur in the end, it is incredibly difficult to aim at this speed, but mastering it makes normal elytra feel slow by a huge amount. There are other movement methods like boats on blue ice, but they sacrifice mobility and control. When you put everything together, extended reach, piercing damage, velocity scaling, lunge momentum, attribute swapping, pearl velocity abuse, Z tapping with the mace, elytra dive bombs, riptide propulsion, the spear transforms from a weak-long stick into one of the most mechanically complex and explosive weapons in Minecraft. And now you know every single mechanic, exploit, interaction, and advanced technique tied to the spear. I'm Verdance, and if you thought that this video was helpful, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button for more tutorials like this one. Peace.